We're going to move forward now with a fireside chat. Our fireside chat today will be held with Laura Major. Laura is the Chief Technology Officer at Motional. As CTO, Laura leads hundreds of engineers in the development of driverless technology systems. Laura previously served as division leader for the Information and Cognition Division of Draper Laboratory, as well as VP of Engineering and the CTO of Area Insights, where she worked on the development of autonomous and aerial vehicles. Laura is a graduate of MIT and an accomplished writer and author of What to Expect When You Are Expecting Robots. Laura, welcome to the panel.
Thank you so much, Selika. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. Laura is the, as I said, the Chief Technology Officer for Motional. She has a Georgia Institute of Technology degree, master's degree at MIT. You just have an incredibly impressive bio, and now you're the Chief Technology Officer at Motional. A number of people watching today, hopefully women across the country, are asking themselves, how can I be the Chief Technology Officer of a new mobility company? Can you tell us what you leverage from your education and your previous professional experiences to bring you to what you do today?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've always followed what interested me and invested my time and my energy in things that I found exciting and that were impactful. So, at Georgia Tech, when I was in college, this meant, I took a class that really captivated me. It was around human-computer interaction. So I approached the professor and I asked if I could do research in her lab. Well, it turned out it was Dr. Amy Pritchett, who is a world-leading expert in autonomous flight and human autonomy teaming. So she became a mentor to me at a young age, and she introduced me to this program at MIT that focused on humans and autonomy. And so I followed in her footsteps there. And then, after graduate school, I went to Draper Laboratory, where again, I had this passion for making autonomous systems, more accessible and usable and impactful to the people who ultimately either were going to use them or who were going to benefit from them. And so I focused on trying to do that. So this meant not only did I have to expand, my technical knowledge and skills, but I also had to learn how to lead and influence people. So I built a team around this capability, and I had to hire, I had to mentor, and then I ultimately took on a division and reshape the division to leverage stronger leverage of machine learning capabilities and all the software architecture, the new architectures that were needed to deal with data at this scale. But I also, I arrived to the point that I am today by some of the, the unexpected twists and turns that my career took. So when I first started my family, when I had my first daughter, I took a step back in my career. I had built this great team at Draper. I had, mentored my successors, and I made an active decision to hand the baton to them and to take on a role I could do part-time, so that I could have a little more time to focus on, on my new baby. And, through this experience, I found an opportunity where I could get out of my comfort zone and spend time on the road with customers, specifically DARPA in this case, understanding the visions and capabilities that they wanted to achieve, and help to build, programs and proposals and ideas within Draper where we could, grow our business there. So I had to learn new skills again, how to listen and understand what customer needs were, how to shape, big ideas, how to work across, many different technical boundaries to create, technical ideas. And it was, through these experiences that, again, I developed not just my technical depth, but also these other skills that were needed to get to the point where I could lead, a team at this scale, building a system as complex as autonomous vehicles.
Wow, very impressive. What attracted you specifically to the driverless industry?
Yeah, so after working, for many years in aerospace and defense applications, I saw the huge impacts, the huge positive impacts that autonomy can have and automation can have, on safety. And so, when I first started learning about the autonomous vehicle space, I was very interested in that and seeing, I was watching it and seeing, many of the transition of technology from aerospace onto our roads. And I saw this great possibility to improve, the safety of our roads in the same way we see the safety in air transportation. So that's really what drew me to this industry.
Are there any major differences that you find between other sectors of robotics and, say, the autonomous vehicle world?
Yeah, I would say, every sector of robotics is unique. And I've seen it all. I've worked across sea, sky, space, ground robotics. And truthfully, I've learned a lot by going across these domains because there are similarities and there are differences. And there are many things that you might learn in one domain that another domain isn't thinking about that can really kind of unblock a capability. And so, I think though the key similarity across these sectors is that, for all these robotics applications, we're dealing with, complex systems that require solving hard problems that can take many years. And so, you really have to stay focused on, getting to that goal and persisting through the challenges, because when you're dealing with a complex hardware software system that has to be intelligent, there are going to be many, many challenges that come up along the way. And really, a key part of getting to the end goal is figuring out how to persist through those challenges.
I started off by talking about your current role. You're the only female CTO in the autonomous vehicle industry right now. What do you view as the most important traits to succeed in a technology leadership position?
Yeah, so, my path to where I am today and how, part of how I lead today is, really focusing on 3 key areas. And I think this is important for any, first of a kind technology where a lot of innovation is required. First, you have to build and empower a strong team. So a team that's as passionate as you are about, going after these hard problems and who brings creative solutions to the table. And I always say I try to hire people better than myself. So, surround yourself with a really strong, passionate team. Second, define and, continue to refine a compelling vision. Help paint a picture of where you want to go and how you're going to get there. That that your team can get excited about and can help, realize. And then, lastly is really trying to hone in and create, a strong set of problem-solving skills and problem-solving culture. Because again, anytime you're dealing with a first-of-a-kind technology that's this complex, it's all about problem solving. And many problems will come up that you expect and many that you don't expect. And it's not about, do you face challenges? Do you have risks in your approach? It's about how do you work through those and being willing to also identify when maybe a path you're going down isn't working the way you thought it would work, and pivoting and being able to learn from the data, realize, what you need to do and then do it quickly. So I think, women have the opportunity to grow in leadership roles everywhere. And, for me, I've, tried from the beginning to focus on results. When there are headwinds, it's easy to get discouraged. And it's easy to get distracted, I think, by fighting some of those battles that don't matter. But I've always tried to focus on the ones that do, create results, build a team, deliver, for a customer, change, the world in a way that you can control and keep making progress.
I love that. And that advice is so good for the people that are listening out there today. What advice would you give women who are interested in similar careers when it comes to maybe choosing a particular college degree or an education path, an internship, first job? What advice for those who are starting out?
Yeah, I would say, focus on what interests you. Try things out early on, dabble. My first internship was in civil engineering, and it only took one summer to realize that wasn't the path for me. So, try things. I had many things that I tried and didn't, weren't a spark for me. So again, don't choose a path because you saw someone else take that path or because you think that's what you're supposed to do. When you find and explore an area that you're truly passionate about, then that passion is what's going to sustain and empower you for success. And I'd say, again, from day one, focus on making an impact. Where even during an internship, you have an opportunity to make an impact. Look at ways you can improve the process or the product or the culture. Those things get noticed, and I would say from day one, I always was looking, how could I do the job I was handed in a better way? And when you do that, every role in a company matters, right? We value our interns so much. They bring forward so many great ideas, and they have an opportunity to innovate in the tasks that they have. So I'd say no matter what your role is, focus on how can you do it better? How can you make a bigger impact? And, and keep making change.
That's terrific advice. I want to talk to you a little bit about work-life balance. Something we probably don't ask men enough about, but should. As a mother of grown children, I certainly can understand the demands of raising children while having an engaging and oftentimes demanding career. You have 2 young daughters, so you're sort of in the thick of it right now. How do you stay motivated to balance a demanding job with family life?
Yeah, it's a great question. We should ask more men this question too, because they need to be a part of the equation, right? And it's not easy, right? As every parent knows. And I couldn't do it without help. I will say, I'm lucky to have a very supportive husband who, is committed to doing his part so that I can have success in my career. But every time that I've had an opportunity come my way that maybe has expanded my need to travel or expanded a load on my time, I have actively, had a conversation with him about what is he going to change to support our family more and to take on more load from the kids. And we often, kind of have that debate back and forth of, it's not just my decision, but it's a decision for our family. And I don't want to go into a new opportunity without the level of support that I need. So I think actively planning for that, especially as your career grows, you have to seek out help, again, whether it's a spouse or whether that's getting help from family or whether that's, we've chosen to have our nanny for longer than we might have otherwise, making key decisions like that. So it's explicit, you're kind of helping set yourself up for success. But another way, more tactical way that I try to maintain balance is when I'm home with my kids and, I really try to be present with them. And I make that time, I focus on the quality of that time together since I can't give them quantity of time. So, what that means for me is I really lose myself in their world. I put down my stuff and I go into their world. If it's a school project, if it's a board game they want to play, if it's a craft project, whatever it is, I kind of let them lead and I'm there to, connect and really have, meaningful moments with them. Also, I try to bring them into my world. So I think that's a really, exciting opportunity. They have a mom who, who's a CTO and who's an engineer and for them to see that, it opens up so many possibilities for their future. So, before COVID, they would visit me in the office occasionally. We'd go out for lunch after a tour in the office. I show them videos of our robot car and how it's progressing. I tell them about challenges I face and how I'm working through those challenges. I visit them in their classroom. I go and read books on robotics to their class. I bring pictures of our robot car. So I try to, kind of the work-life harmony concept. I try to also bring them into my world so that they can realize that when their mom is away from them, she's doing things that matter. So, I think during this pandemic, it certainly has, I hope, has accelerated some of the discussions on, how we can better support working parents. We've all had to juggle a lot more responsibilities with kids, doing school at home and daycare centers being closed. And I really hope that that we can see, some progress in, on this topic of, what kind of flexibility can we offer, and how, I think everyone's going to contribute more at work when their home life is stable and healthy and happy. So it's a part of what we need to support.
How do you stay motivated?
Yeah, so, for me, being here again, I described bringing my kids into my world and helping them understand the impact that we're making here at Motional. And, for me, what that really means is making our roads safer. As a mom, I see this opportunity to just drastically improve the safety record on our roads, and to know that when, we're driving on a family vacation, that there's, that the roads are safer, that my family is safe. So that's really, ultimately it's the mission, it's the impact that keeps me motivated.
Tall mission. Is there something that the AV industry and maybe the larger tech industry can do to support parents or to hire and retain women in leadership roles?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think flexibility and empathy is a big part of it, because everybody's needs are a little different. And so finding ways, to make sure that leadership is supporting the unique needs that people have is an important part. I think work from home has, taken on a whole new meaning. And I think we're probably better positioned to maybe allow, hey, on a day when I need to take my daughter to the doctor, maybe I work from home that morning. So that's easier on me. And I don't have to commute in and out of work, multiple times a day. Or if I want to go to a parent-teacher conference, making sure that I can do that. But I think it really has to be built into the culture, and that has to start at the top. And you really have to show that kind of empathy and support for people's unique situations, and make it clear that, that having that balance is important to you as a leader. It's important for your, for your team to have that balance.
Let's talk about the company a little bit. You oversee hundreds of engineers that are solving some of the most difficult challenges in transportation technology. If you could tell us a little bit about what you're focused on, what your current challenges are, and perhaps how you support your teams in that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we just announced recently that we have gone driverless. So for the last, year plus, we have been really focused on building, a driverless system, building the right safety architecture, building the processes needed to design, assess, and validate that system. So that's, a big focus for us. We're now taking that technology and migrating it to our next generation vehicle and sensors. And so, we're focused on leveraging that, that core foundation that we built to now scale that up and prepare it for commercial operations. We announced, in December that we have a new deal with Lyft for fully driverless, deal for multi-market service, multiple cities in 2023. So this is, this really gives us that North Star, that milestone to work towards, to, get our system developed, to get it out in the world, get it tested, and really build that confidence internally that we can go, expand the environment we can cover, and that, we can achieve all the safety goals that we have to get to that final goal.
That's terrific. As you know, there are many who expected, autonomous vehicle industry to be fully up and running now. And as such, because of that, the industry is facing skepticism about self-driving cars. How do you counter that?
Yeah, so, the journey to realizing the full potential of autonomous vehicles has definitely, taken longer, I think, than anyone anticipated. But being from the aerospace industry, I will say it doesn't surprise me. I was often, surprised that people were expecting it to happen so fast, to be honest. And that's part of what motivated me to write my book. Try to learn from these other domains to do it right in the autonomous vehicle space. It's kind of like asking back during the days of the Wright brothers, why don't we have commercial jets yet? That's where we are. We're getting off the ground. We're starting to, take those first big steps. But I think, this past year, 2020 was really, an exciting year in the AV space. And we saw many significant accomplishments that provide evidence that we're making progress. For Motional, that was going driverless. We saw others go driverless. And these are key steps along the path, but it will continue to be a journey, right? We're not going to jump to commercial jet status yet, but we're going to evolve, and we're going to keep making progress. And I think, again, the evidence over the last year shows we're at a tipping point. We're entering a new phase in this industry.
Fantastic. Motional has spoken about its commitment to diversity and inclusion. Not just a commitment to hire a diverse staff, but to develop and promote and create an inclusive workforce. Some people think that this is solely an HR function or an HR matter. Why is it important to you and to Motional?
Absolutely, yeah. So at Motional, we believe that in order to build for everyone, we have to be everyone. And so what that means to us is, we're not building our technology for, to serve one person, just for, the young urbanite who wants to zip around in their robotaxi, or for one city. Our mission is to make driverless vehicles accessible to everyone. And so, who we are as a team, the unique perspectives that we each bring is an important part of accomplishing this goal. Motional, we really have an unwavering commitment to diversity, inclusion, and representation at the very top. Myself, Carl Yanema, our CEO, are committed to this. And so, we want to ensure that we have this inclusive lens, that we bring all these perspectives to the table, and then we have a culture that embraces, different opinions. And we really are committed that this is the right way to build our technology to serve, a wide and diverse audience. So as a leader, it's important to me to support this. It's an important part of, of Motional's future success, of my success. And quite frankly, it's rewarding to bring these different views together and to see a team thrive, to see, people from all different backgrounds, different colleges, different genders, different countries, all coming together to solve these hard problems is very rewarding.
I applaud those efforts. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what are you most excited about for what's to come, your product, the role of AV companies in contributing positive change, both internally and externally? Like what's exciting you?
Yeah, we have a lot of exciting things going on this year and over the next couple of years, really. As I mentioned, we have our first driverless system, and we're now moving that to our new vehicle. So soon you're going to hear about our first, robotaxi, driverless commercial robotaxi vehicle. And that's really exciting for us to work on. Exciting to see it get on the road. Exciting to see it perform in ways we haven't been able to do previously. Also, we're starting to prepare for this commercial launch with Lyft. And you're going to hear more about that, more details about, what we're planning, how we're going to progress, what's that journey going to be like. Again, it's not going to go from Wright brothers to commercial jets. We have plans around how we take each step to get there successfully and safely. So those are the things, that drive me and that I'm really passionate about and excited to see through.
We've discussed your impressive career, and you're also a published author. What to expect when expecting robots. You've accomplished a lot, but is there something else that you want to accomplish? Something else that a goal that you have, something that you'd like to do?
Yeah, I definitely never want to feel like I'm done in my career. That's not very fun. I enjoy always looking for new challenges, and quite frankly, I often get bored once I've tackled a big challenge, and I'm always ready to pass the baton and move on to the next big challenge. But I think for me right now, the focus is, I'm in a position 10 years ago, I never would have expected to find myself. And so I couldn't be more excited than to, lead this team and really take us, into this world of having driverless vehicles on our roads in our cities. I'm really enjoying it now, and my role at Motional is incredibly challenging and incredibly rewarding. But I'm sure there will be things to come after that. Maybe future books, maybe other roles, other technology areas that might spur my my passion. But for now, this is the place I want to be, and I couldn't be more excited than to see this through to this driverless future.
We're really honored to have you here with us today. The STEM students from our earlier panel do have a couple of questions. If you have a few more minutes to take a couple of questions from them.
Of course, that would be wonderful.
So I'll ask Michelle Chow and Ilse Perez to turn on their cameras. Perfect. Michelle and Ilse, this is Laura Major. Michelle, why don't you go ahead and ask your question first?
Yes, I wanted to ask, what pressure do you feel as the only female CTO of a major AV player, and how do you navigate that?
Yeah, so, there certainly are a lot of pressures in this industry. We're trying to do something for the first time. But the most pressure that I feel really is for my team. I feel, pressured to do what I can do to enable their success. It's hard in this space because no one person, no CTO can be an expert in all things, right? This is a hardware software system. And so, really, staying focused on this mission, but pulling together the right experts and really empowering them and making sure that, I'm removing roadblocks and paving the way for them to be successful. Is really what I spend my time focused on, stressed about, and where I feel the most pressure. Because if I can make them successful, then I know we can achieve this driverless future. But that's really the focus of the pressures that I feel today.
Thank you, Michelle. Ilse, why don't you go ahead and ask your question now?
Hi, Laura. My question is the following. What is one piece of advice you will give to your younger self who is just beginning their STEM career?
Yeah, great question. I would say don't doubt yourself. Be willing to take on risks, even if you don't know how it's going to play out. And when an opportunity comes, take a good look at it and really consider it. When I was first approached for this role, I didn't quite understand why me. I didn't feel like I was good enough, right? The imposter syndrome. But I'm so glad I took that call. I'm so glad that I started talking with them and learning about how Motional at the time Aptiv is approaching, a safe driverless system. And I could start to see why they wanted to talk to me, how all the steps in my background had really led me to this moment. But if I had kind of given in to that, that doubt, I wouldn't be where I am. So I think, say yes to opportunities. But when considering opportunities, also look at who you're going to be working with. Make sure that you're finding people who will support you, who will champion you. Back to your question, Michelle, I think I'm in a position now where I have a lot of support as a woman CTO that I haven't always had in every company and every position. But by being selective in what opportunity to take, but also not holding yourself back. Go for it, but do your homework, figure out if the opportunity is gonna set you up for success, if you're gonna have that support, if you're gonna feel like people are championing you to be successful, but then go for it.
Thank you very much, Laura. We really appreciate that engaging interview and for also answering questions from our STEM students. It's a wonderful opportunity. Thank you all. We appreciate that.